Stand with Ukraine. These words became a globally known expression. These words reflect a deep connection, true compassion, and real support provided in many ways. How can coaches and coaching communities support Ukraine and professional coaches in Ukraine? What kind of cooperation is being created between ICF Ukraine Chapter and the ICF chapters in different countries? What is possible to develop together now and in the nearest future? What are the challenges professional coaches are dealing with in this wartime? This and many related questions are in focus of our conversation today, August 25th, 2022. This is a podcast, Coaches Stand with Ukraine. Greetings to everybody who is listening, who will be listening to this podcast. I'm Larysa Homans, transformational story coach and mentor, past president of ICF Ukraine Chapter, co-leader of partnership initiatives, also volunteer and co-host of this podcast.
I am Olga Vasylets, co-host of this podcast, ACC ICF, co-leader of partnership initiatives within ICF Ukraine Chapter, and volunteer. It's a big honor for us to have this conversation with our special guest, our partner. Larysa, the microphone is yours, and you are introducing...
I'm very happy to introduce, and I'm delighted to greet here Kenny Leahman, ICF Professional Certified Coach, PCC, who is focusing on personal and professional performance, values-based leadership, team alignment, and navigating crisis and change. Kenny embraces diversity and culture and applies his passion to people, integrity, and mission to everything he does, including his service on the ICF Metro DC Charter Board of Directors, where Kenny directs the Pro Bono Committee and the chapter strategic partnerships. Hello, Kenny, and welcome to this conversation.
Hello, Larysa, and thank you, Olga.
Kenny, what is important for you to say about yourself at the beginning of our conversation?
I think it's important to understand that this partnership, the reason I'm here today is because of Pro Bono Coaching and because of my international experience. Having lived abroad most of my adult life and experienced challenges that non-Americans face, this opportunity in these events really spoke to me and called to me. So I am extremely grateful that this opportunity has arisen for us to share this story.
Thank you, Kenny. And you know that this podcast has a few questions which are repeating from episode to episode. And the first one is very simple. Coaches Stand with Ukraine. What does it mean for you, Kenny?
I have a Stand with Ukraine bumper sticker on my car. So this is a very important statement for me. For me, there's a be and a do element of this statement. To be mindful of our Ukraine coach colleagues every day and to hold them in our hearts, minds, and prayers. The do element is to take tangible action and provide tangible support to our colleagues. Real actions that can give our Ukraine coach colleagues hope, trust in their fellow coaches, and actionable means to bring them forward to a new future. In my mind, I see us all standing in a huge arena, silent in shock, grief, and mourning, until one person stands up and says, let's do something. Who will stand with me? And one by one, those of us in this arena physically stand up and join hands to demonstrate that we are going to be and do together.
The cooperation between ICF Metro DC Chapter and ICF Ukraine Chapter is a very unusual in many aspects. What is making this partnership a special one? What is the key driver of this partnership? And what are the vital goals?
Oh yeah, I agree wholeheartedly that this cooperative initiative is unusual and in fact extraordinary. The initial goal of our Metro DC ICF chapter was to assure that our coach colleagues, our Ukraine coach family, know and feel that they have and can count on our chapter members' support. The key driver was and still is humanity. To demonstrate humanity towards fellow human beings in crisis, a primary goal from the beginning has been to utilize our coaching skills to coach our Ukraine coach colleagues to find what it is that they need at this time. Elements that have emerged are camaraderie, comfort, kindness, self-discovery, personal and professional awareness, methods for coping with and handling trauma, grief, and sorrow, and to understand and navigate change. The results of this pro bono program have far exceeded our initial vision, goals, and expectations.
And we'll be talking about the results of this pro bono initiatives, which is really an ongoing project, a little bit later. But Kenny, I remember the first conversation we had with you and the Marlene Thomas, ICF Metro DC Chapter President, and I was impressed and deeply, deeply touched by your openness and your willingness and your commitment to start working together as soon as possible. Despite we didn't have any previous conversations, we didn't have any previous experience, we didn't know each other, yeah? And I remember you said, we want to be the first in the line of supporting, helping, and we are ready to roll up our sleeves. And actually, this is what you and your colleagues started doing and have been doing it almost for 6 months. And also we are talking that pro bono initiatives has a complex system within and solid foundation beneath. And also pro bono coaching is a significant investment. And you asked me to talk about it during the pro bono coaching panel your chapter conducted during the International Coaching Week. And now I'm giving this question back to you. What kind of returns, outcomes are possible to see, or it's possible to expect to see in the nearest future?
I'm really glad you're asking this question and giving me an opportunity to really be mindful of the response and the answer. From my perspective, there are significant personal and professional returns when someone invests themselves into a pro bono coaching program. Pro bono work typically is volunteer work, providing cost-free service to individuals, groups, or organizations who otherwise could not afford it or who would not have access to this specific service otherwise. Everyone I know who volunteers as a pro bono coach feels enriched and rewarded at their core. It's a human-to-human experience that often leaves volunteers and participants searching for words to describe what has happened or what is happening. For me, it's an opportunity to live my values in the deepest possible way, to give, to care, to empathize, to share, and to serve. I and other pro bono coaches agree that we emerge from pro bono coaching as better individuals and more confident, competent coaches.
You mentioned about experience that coaches who are providing pro bono coaching support are getting, and also there are the results, our feedback, and the reflection we have personally, because Olga and I are also involved in this pro bono coaching initiatives as a coachee.
And I would like to share a little bit my experience of being coachee in this initiative. And I had sessions with the ICF Metro DC Chapter coach. First of all, it was timely, actually really timely, and very beneficial for me. During conversations with my coach, I got so many insights and new knowledges about myself. And one of the most important things in our interaction was cross-cultural factor. It helped a lot to see things differently. And despite this brutal war and uncertainty, I started a new project in ICF Ukraine. It's a series of workshops with the elements of design thinking for coaches. And I think that's a really great result for me. So Kenny, I have a question. We have this conversation in the time when Ukraine is fighting against Russia in the brutal, full-scale, aggressive war. This war is happening in the center of Europe, and it affects and will keep affecting the whole globe. What are the most unexpected and unspoken challenges professional coaches already faced and would face in the future?
Thank you for sharing your own personal experience, Olga. That makes this more real for me and for all of our listeners. Most of our pro bono coach volunteers, all of whom are U.S. citizens, have shared that they felt wholly unprepared to support our Ukraine colleagues in their current circumstances because the coach had never themselves experienced the severity of this situation that our Ukraine colleagues are facing. Several of our volunteers, however, have and are able to empathize. What we're learning again is that coaches by nature are strong, resilient, kind, and compassionate, and that our coach training and professional engagements with clients prepare and enable us to be uniquely adaptable. A key challenge that coaches face is self-management and self-care, while also striving to evoke awareness, cultivate trust and safety, facilitate growth, and maintain the space the client is in, even if that space is grief, torment, and war.
Kenny, you mentioned at the beginning, a little bit earlier, that for you, this partnership, and for your colleagues, this partnership is about having tangible actions, taking tangible actions. And I think that the example Olga shared, and example I have, this podcast is also the part of the pro bono support I received, because it was possible to feel much stronger and start speaking, reaching the international audiences, which we didn't do before. But my question is coming to the challenges. When we started communicating with you and your colleagues, I was approaching different coaching communities like my colleagues did, and we, coaches in Ukraine, coaches from Ukraine, were trying to bring attention to the professional communities, coaching institutions in different countries to this aggressive and brutal war, to different challenges we are facing. And you know, it was possible, and even now still possible, to hear it's not right time, or it's not good time to have difficult conversation about war and ethical dilemmas, in particular in coaching context. What do you think about it?
Yeah, Larysa, I can see this from both sides. First of all, ethics are highly valued by all coaches on a personal and professional level, or they should be. And we're mindful to adhere to them very strictly. I do not shy away from discussions of ethical dilemmas. War, however, is unique in that it is one of the worst possible human tragedies that really contravenes our deepest core values. War can be characterized as wholly unethical, inhumane, and wicked, and nearly always, however, has blatant political dimensions. I can understand that many coaches and coach organizations would draw a distinction between a conversation around an ethical dilemma and war because of the politics of war.
Kenny, also there are many discussions about future of coaching, reimagining, refining this profession, which is relatively new and at the same time is deeply rooted in many other disciplines and professional areas. Today, how do you see future of coaching?
Thank you, Olga. From my perspective, coaching has been around forever. Everyone knows what a sports coach is, but the words coach and coaching have taken on new meaning and have become far more ubiquitous. The term coach and coaching is everywhere these days, in business marketing, in healthcare, in education. Almost every element of our society offers a coach for something. There really seems to be a coach for everything these days. So I believe that it's up to us now to assure that the professional coaching arena and population remains disciplined, defined, and rooted in core principles and values that enable us to serve others professionally and ethically.
What we do call yesterday, today, and tomorrow in coaching is, like in any other professional areas, are connected. Without yesterday, we don't have today. Without today, we will not have tomorrow. This wartime, in my point of view, and based on my experience, is sharpening everything. How do we understand life? How do we see ourselves? What we do and why we do what we do? And I'm wondering, what do you think? These questions, which resonate with coaches in our country, do the same questions resonate with coaches who live in different countries and much far from Ukraine?
That's a very fascinating question. I cannot speak for others. I do have, from my own personal experience, an international perspective, and I believe that this has been a wake-up call, a surprise for the world, and a surprise for the coaching community. Who are we? What are we about? Why do we coach? What do we intend as our objective as coaches? And for me, now that we have global listeners, thanks to you and this podcast, I would just like to say that we launched, the DC Metro Chapter launched this program with our Ukraine Chapter colleagues to make a difference and to do something different than the standard pro bono coaching programs that we had pursued. My personal mantra, which is at the top of my professional website, is this: make choices based on what matters. If it doesn't matter, let it go. Keep focused so that your everyday actions are purposeful and rewarding for you, others, and the world. Coaching matters. Pro bono volunteer work matters. Standing with Ukraine matters.
Though this podcast is very new, we want to bring it to as many listeners, not only coaches, but also leaders, entrepreneurs, educators, professionals from other supporting fields in Ukraine and abroad. What is your key message to everybody who will listen to this conversation?
I would just repeat what I just said, and that is focus on what matters, find what matters, look inside, look at your organizations, and be very, very mindful of what you can do to make a change, to support, and to move things forward for individuals in crisis and the coaching profession. I think that we have demonstrated with this program a new opportunity, a new mindset. I would refer to this as we've had a mindset reset. We are now thinking differently of pro bono coaching and coaching in general, and understanding that my world, my planet of coaching is very different from the planet that other coaches live on, and never to assume that we have all the answers or that we have all the awareness, to keep ourselves open and to remain flexible in every regard.
Thank you, Kenny. When you are saying that our partnership is about making changes, and this partnership is about making changes, I was thinking about leadership. And my point of view is the way of taking leadership in developing coaching and coaching engagements, not just between coachee and the coach, but between coaching community and coaching community. You are teaching coaching at the Georgetown University, and you are working with leaders. May I ask you, almost at the end of our conversation, what does it mean for you to take leadership in coaching?
This program is an example of individuals stepping forward. Marlene, our chapter president, myself, and our entire board of directors understood that this would not happen without leaders and without a leadership mindset. The Georgetown program that I am involved in is called the Institute for Transformational Leadership. And I believe that what we are doing, you and I, Larysa, and Olga, and every member of this program are experiencing transformation. So let's not get stuck in where we are as leaders. Never be comfortable with where we are as leaders, and always push ourselves into transformation and to new ways of thinking and new ways of doing.
It's to be brave enough to ask challenging questions, but also to be brave enough to answer challenging questions and take actions, and before it, to make challenging decisions. I hope Olga will share these feelings, again, as it happens in every good conversation, meaningful, open, partners conversation. It's hard to notice how fast time is flying. We touched many important topics, shared thoughtful observations with you, Kenny and Olga. We uncover even more challenging aspects of life itself and professional realities we are in. Kenny, thank you very much for being our conversational partner today. And maybe there is a question you would like to be asked, but for some reasons we didn't ask.
I currently don't have any additional questions. I think we've covered a lot of ground, and I just want to say that I am very proud to be part of this podcast. I'm extremely pleased that you've taken the initiative and shown the leadership to do this. I'm certain that it's going to have an impact, and I am grateful that you felt inclined to request me to partner with you in this today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kenny. For everybody who will be listening to this podcast, please share your comments, questions, thoughts, ideas. Let's stay connected. You can see Larysa's and my contacts in the description for this podcast.
Once again, it was our privilege to talk to Kenny Leahman, ICF Professional Certified Coach, PCC, who is focusing on personal and professional performance, values-based leadership, team alignment, and navigating crisis and change. As we said at the beginning, Kenny embraces diversity and culture and applies his passion for people, integrity, and mission to everything he does, including his service on the ICF Metro DC Chapter Board of Directors. In this board, he directs the Pro Bono Committee and the Chapter Strategic Partnership. And we would like to use this time and opportunity to say thank you very much, Kenny, and thank you to all your colleagues from ICF Metro DC Chapter, professional coaches who stand with Ukraine. Thank you, my dear colleague and friend, Olga Vasylets, for co-hosting this podcast. More talks are coming. Stay tuned, stay connected, stay with Ukraine.